Welcome to the Stronger Tides Podcast, the podcast for small business entrepreneurs and corporate executives to learn more about increasing their client or employee retention through a group cruise program. Ready to drop anchor? Here's your host, travel advisor Rita Perez.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Wanted to do something quick, simple, and easy. A little bit light because we are just a few days from Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. I have had so much fun doing this podcast. It's been nearly half a year doing this. And so I'd be remiss to say if I wasn't thankful to all you amazing listeners this Thanksgiving week and every day. So what I wanted to bring to you today was just an update on the cruise line industry. Again, don't want to go in too heavy, but there's lots of great ups, but then we also have some downs, and I feel like I would be only saying one side of the story if I didn't give you this side. So I think it was an episode or two ago where I had said that they were going to be doing cruises out of Barbados. And if you wanted to go on a cruise, that was going to be your best way. But unfortunately, we've had some not great news from Barbados, not Barbados, but the cruise line. And you may have heard it in the news or not. So Seadream Yacht Club was the cruise line that was sailing. Now they have successfully been doing sailings in Europe, so they decided to go ahead, give the model and the protocols a chance down here in the Caribbean and see how it would work in this market. Well, and so part of their protocols is that you have to get, I believe it's the PCR testing. And the PCR testing is like the more accurate testing. And so if I'm getting this correct, they had to do it before they even traveled, before they even got on the ship. And then I believe they were also doing daily checks. So it was found out that there were 7 passengers while they started cruising had COVID that tested negative in the pre, and then it must have come up either like day 1 or day 2 that they had COVID. Now, I do also want to, as far as like the last articles that I've read, so 5 of the 7 were traveling in a group of 6. So they were all together, and the other 2 were either a couple or they were just traveling together. So it's not like anybody per se was spreading COVID. It was kind of like contained to the groups that brought it, essentially. The other thing that I actually wanted to give kudos to Seadream Yacht Club because they acted very swiftly as soon as they found out that some of the tests were going to be testing positive. They kind of like made the decision already to head back to their Barbados. So they stopped the cruise, and then they were, I say responsible, but I say it like in so many emotions too. Like, yes, they were very responsible. They were responsive, and because they were responsive, they were responsible to go ahead and end the cruise early, debark. They have decided that they were not going to be doing any more cruises out of Barbados, so they've kind of suspended those Caribbean cruises, and they'll try again in 2021. This is just incredibly heartbreaking because they did everything right, just like the other lines that are operating in Europe. You know, I'm going to get into my personal feelings a little bit, like them, don't like them, but I have to mention it. I was thinking, I'm like, but what's the difference? Like, Europe is able to do this. Like, why on their first cruise did this happen? I could be right. I could be wrong. You know, from what I've heard from all my friends who are in Europe, the protocols are much stricter than over here in the United States. So that's kind of the first thing that I thought of, is that maybe it was just people who don't. Maybe it's just our culture that we live in, that there's a lot of skeptics in the States. But regardless, it did happen, and the cruise line did the right thing. Now from that, some members of Congress, and by some I mean two, well, the last number I saw was two, are calling for the CDC to go ahead and reinstate the ban, which I obviously do not believe is a good idea. I think that doing that would do a lot more harm than good. Also, there's no ship sailing from the United States of America, so in my eyes, I feel like putting in the ban would be pointless because no one's sailing, no one's planning to sail. I think in one of the last episodes I had said that nobody's planning to sail until like maybe late January. I feel like that's going to be more February, March now, and that is what a lot of cruise lines have come out saying. There's so many that have suspended through January, that they're not going to be restarting until February or March. So that's what it's seeming like, and I think it's probably because we have an increase of COVID cases right now too. It's the second wave, which we all knew was going to be coming anyways. So yeah, this really does break my heart. Hey, interested in getting an actual numbers comparison of a land retreat versus a cruise retreat? You know, honestly, when I was putting this document together, I couldn't even believe the great difference between the numbers. Visit StrongerTidesPodcast.com to be added to my weekly email list and get the download now. Back to the show. That we're having to deal with this. So the CDC has not reinstated their ban, but they did put like cruising as a level 4, meaning that you shouldn't go cruising, which again, I don't understand because no one is cruising from the United States. Like even the lines that are sailing in Europe and that will be sailing soon in Portugal, from Singapore, you have to be a resident of that country in order to sail. So no Americans are allowed to sail anywhere. I think right now the best bet if you did want to go cruising is on an American river cruise ship, which I think some were supposed to start sailing in December, but I'm not sure. And they may delay that also. Like if I have any updates, I'll let you know on that as well. This is just a very fluid situation, and I kind of got some flashbacks back in March, and I'm just kind of like, I can't believe, I don't want to sound like insensitive. Like, I can't believe that we're still dealing with this, but it comes in a sense that I can't believe we haven't found any therapies that have been helpful to help combat this, which I think there have been. They probably just haven't been publicized a lot. And likewise, that what hasn't been publicized a lot is, yes, there have been increasing cases, but the death rates that we had early on, like in March and April, aren't as high as they are now. So I know myself personally, do I go out and about? No. But that's myself protecting me, because I do have a couple of health conditions and health concerns that I should, it's not as serious as something like diabetes, but it's not like I'm 100% healthy and I shouldn't like take any precautions. I should. In the beginning, I was very sheltered and like, no, you shouldn't do this. Yes, you should do that. But I think I'm a little bit more limber in that sense, because it's not the big like scare fest. Is it scary? Yes, COVID is scary. COVID can be scary. I have heard stories of where it's like a roller coaster ride where you think it's great 1 second and then it's horrible the next. I've had friends lose family members. This is not anything to be delicate about. On that same light, I don't think it's as treacherous as we thought in the beginning. Do I want to get COVID? Heck no. But I don't want to predict the future. I'm not going to say anything. We're just going to end like, I do feel that we are closer to finding some resolve with everything with COVID, especially with the announcements from the vaccines, and whether or not you want to take the vaccine that's of your own volition. Is that the right word? That's up to you. You take that at your own risk. But there are at least some therapies coming out. And I mean, we have heard of things like testing and improved testings. Like I was just on a webinar earlier today about like infrared testing, where they can just trace your body with this infrared light and see if there's like any inflammation, because that's a big thing with COVID. So I thought that was pretty cool. So technology is working and they're trying to get us in a better place. So I'm hopeful about that. I just would like it sooner than later, which I'm sure everyone would. But with that, I don't have to tell you to be safe, but I know you guys will be safe. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, no matter if you're celebrating it just with your family at home, if you're going to see some family members, if you're going to do some volunteer work. Please be safe, whatever you are going to be doing. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends, loved ones, whoever you are with. Please stay safe, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on the Stronger Tides podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast. And if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating or a share with your colleagues. Find us on social media at Rita Ventures Group Cruising and online at ritaventures.net. Until next time, happy sailing.